Are you ready for the best in Sooner football recruiting news? Then it's time to get locked in with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Whether you're a recruiting doomer or sunshine pumper, text the guys on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And call your shot on the Riverwind Casino jackpot line at 405-329-9000.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
And it is the best, you football and recruiting news on this show every single weekday. Parker Thune in the Buffalo Wild Wings studios alongside Grayson Singleton. And Grayson, I'm in a fantastic mood today. Ask me why.
Go ahead. Hey, why are you in such a good mood today, my friend?
Because the great city of Norman has a Hawaiian Bros now. Just went in on Campus Corner.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, it opened today?
It opened, I think, 2 days ago.
Okay.
So I got to go there for the first time yesterday.
Turn me up for that.
Man, Hawaiian Bros slaps. I still prefer Mo Betta's just slightly.
You and I differ on that one.
I am slightly partial to Mo Betta's, but you cannot go wrong with a good, solid Hawaiian plate lunch. And you know what the great thing is? You go to Hawaiian Bros, you can get a good meal for $10. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg in this economy to eat lunch.
I will say, that's what I still appreciate about Chipotle. My chicken bowl is still about $9.50.
That's not bad at all.
No. But no, Hawaiian Bros, turn me up for that, man.
Have you had their sliders yet?
I have not had the sliders.
I'm looking forward to trying those for the first time.
Okay.
Some little pulled pork sliders, get the pickled onions, the mango aioli. I saw it on the menu yesterday. Wasn't quite in the mood for it, but I know there's gonna come a point in time in the very near future where I got to throw down on some Hawaiian Bros.
So
sliders.
why? Because you almost just said it right there. Why Mo Betta's over Hawaiian Bros?
I just think it's better.
Is it more like the OG thing to you?
No, because actually I had Hawaiian Bros many, many times before I ever tried Mo Betta's.
Okay.
I think Mo Betta's is Mo Betta.
Okay.
Just by a little.
Well done there.
But Hawaiian food is Hawaiian food.
Yeah.
And if you aren't acquainted with the Hawaiian plate lunch, folks, you got to give it a try. Because that's some good stuff. And it's not a gut bomb either,
No, it's not. That's
You can eat a Hawaiian plate lunch and feel okay about it.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get good full.
It's one of those meals where your body is going to tell you, why the hell did you eat this? And it's just a matter of time.
Mm-hmm. Chris in Tulsa says, my wife and I went to Hawaiian Bros in Owasso yesterday for the first time, and we will be going back.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacific Island wrap was so good. A 405 listener says, got to get the musubi. I'm not a big spam person.
Ew.
Yeah, so miss me with the musubi. My wife, being part Japanese as she is big into musubi, though. So whenever we go to Mo Betta's or to Hawaiian Bros, that's always of interest to her.
I always forget your wife is part Japanese.
Mm-hmm. Chris from Knoxville says, Knoxville's Hawaiian Bros opened 2 weeks ago. Okay, I'll add that to my list of establishments I can trust when I go on the road for these SEC trips. Greg in Muskogee says, I'm going to assume it's not a plate of microwaved leftover salmon. No,
Did you
infinitely better.
Did you listen to Dari's show earlier today?
No, what did he say?
They alluded to the salmon incident about 3 different times at minimum. At minimum.
Dari doesn't even live here.
Dari doesn't even live here. Dari's never even been here.
And you know what? He knows the lore, though.
Oh, my gosh.
It's what makes him a legend.
I think, was it Chris from Knoxville? Because I think I had the text line pulled up while I was doing some other work. Chris from Knoxville was like, dude, Grayson just catching strays all day today.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before the salmon meme runs its course. But before we get to talk some sports text, let's pivot to our subject matter for the day. First things first, though, I want to remind you that the show is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones is family-owned and operated, and GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today. So if you're in the market for a new set of wheels, head out to El Reno, check them out. Hit us up throughout the show on the First Liberty Bank text line at 405-651-3439. And the news of the day, Grayson, I don't know if it's good or bad news, what you consider it to be. I mean, I guess in the most technical sense of the term, it is negative news. But news that clarifies the picture a little bit for Oklahoma going into this weekend. The Sooners, as we discussed yesterday, were set to have 10 uncommitted official visitors on campus. That number has now shrunk to 9 because I'm not sure if it has gone public yet. Oh, it literally just went public 10 seconds ago via Hayes Fawcett. There you go. But Miles Smith is an Indiana Hoosier, the 4-star edge rusher out of Farmington, Michigan, that was supposed to be in Norman this weekend for his official visit, took the trip to Indiana a couple weeks ago, and evidently made the decision in conjunction with his family that they needed to see nothing further, and he was going to go play for Curt Cignetti. So Smith is off the board. He will no longer take his official visit this weekend. He is going to play his college football in Bloomington. And what this does, Grayson, is it really straightens out what the priority is going to be for Miguel Chavis this weekend, because he now has just one uncommitted target in town. He has both of his pledges in Samuel Nelson and Crew Jones scheduled to be here this weekend. But he only has one uncommitted target to focus on, and that, of course, is Uhila Wolfgram, the high 3-star edge rusher out of Maple Mountain High School in Spanish Fork, Utah. So it was a long shot that Oklahoma was going to be able to land Smith anyway, as we had discussed. There wasn't really an expectation that anything was going to materialize there, or that OU was necessarily going to have staying power beyond the OV. But now I think this makes life just much easier for Chavis and the Oklahoma staff, because there is one target left on the edge board, one guy left that they're making a run at. They're in pretty good position with him as is, but now you get to pour all of your time and effort this weekend into making sure that Wolfgram has the absolute VIP red carpet experience at Oklahoma and does not have a reason to choose UCLA or BYU over the Sooners in the end.
Yeah, no doubt. And just for everybody to know, I am having salmon for dinner. That is what I'm making tonight. But Miles Smith would have been a fun player to have. Obviously never was leaning in the direction of Oklahoma, but, you know, I saw a lot of a Micah Parsons style of game with Miles Smith. He was a fun watch on tape. But when it comes to Uhila, I just see positional versatility there, man. Like, I see obviously a natural edge, but with his frame and his body and the way it could develop as he goes through his underclassmen years of college, I feel like there's the possibility of being able to use him, you know, as a speed rusher in the interior or something like that in certain packages, or just potentially make him a 3 technique. So I would always take the guy with more positional versatility. I feel like for this team, that is something that Brent Venables puts a priority on, is guys that can do multiple things. We've talked about that before on this show. But that's the intriguing part to him, is that, yeah, he's an edge right now, but I don't really know if he does end up with Oklahoma. I don't really know what he ends up being when it's all said and done with his career in a Sooner uniform.
So I think what's important to understand here is that you're absolutely right. Like, physically speaking, when you look at Wolfgram, it's easy to figure, okay, like, that's a guy that could wind up sliding inside.
It's on the board.
But I think what's become clear is that that's not Oklahoma's intent right now with him. And if they have guys that they feel like will certainly play multiple roles on the defensive line in college, like a Josh Christensen, for example, then they will get both Todd Bates and Miguel Chavis involved in the recruitment. But to this point, it's been Miguel Chavis and Stacy Ford, who, of course, has a hand in basically every single recruitment of any kid that's from the Mountain or Pacific time zone. The West Coast, the western half of the United States, I mean, that's the sweet spot for Stacy Ford. That's where he's in his bag as a recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it says a lot that it's really just been Chavis as opposed to Chavis and Bates kind of coordinating Oklahoma's pursuit of Wolfgram. What that tells you is that in the here and now, obviously everything is subject to change once you get these guys on campus and kind of get a feel for how they're going to develop. But in the here and now, they see him exclusively as a defensive end, and I think his skill set is kind of a nice complement to what Oklahoma already has in Samuel Nelson and Crew Jones between their two current commits at the position. So Wolfgram's official visit this weekend is suddenly under a magnifying glass, much more so than it was before. And you no longer have to play the what-if game about, well, I mean, who knows? What if both of those guys want to commit this weekend? Or what if neither one of them has a good time and you have to make some additional offers down the road at edge rusher to fill out that third spot? And we've mentioned this in the past as well, but I'm not even convinced that Oklahoma would go after a third edge rusher if things fell through with Wolfgram. They're content to take two. Doesn't mean they wouldn't expand the board if Wolfgram chose UCLA or chose BYU, but it's not an absolute necessity in the collective mind of the Oklahoma front office and staff that they have to go get a third guy. But if there's a guy that they feel like makes them better, and they certainly feel that way about Wolfgram, they're going to do their best to make it happen. And so he comes to town this weekend. He was previously in Norman for the spring game back in April. That was, days after he got the offer. Oklahoma just got involved with this kid less than 2 months ago. So Chavis and Stacey Ford and the whole OU staff have really done an outstanding job of being able to position themselves as a contender in this recruitment fast. Now it's about closing the deal and fending off UCLA and BYU.
Let me ask you this before we go forward. Yeah. You mentioned the Wolfgram visit is going to be under a magnifying glass. Who do you think, if you had to rank the top 3 visitors that would be under a magnifying glass, who would they be? Yeah, for this weekend?
It's Wolfgram, it's Bodie Sparrow, and it's Gabe Osborne.
I think that's the 3.
I think the 3 most sensible answers are the 3 correct answers. I don't feel the need to levy any hot takes here. Oklahoma has kind of got to have Gabe Osborne.
Yeah.
That feels like if there's a got to have at recruitment the rest of the way, Osborne, for so many reasons, not the least of which is proximity, is a guy that you feel like, okay, he can't escape our backyard.
Sure.
Now, in talking to folks close to that recruitment, even just over the last couple of days here, Grayson, there's an understanding that if things go a certain way, Osborne might not wind up a Sooner. Nobody is putting the cart before the horse right now with that whole deal, because everybody involved realizes that when money hits the table, Ohio State or Alabama or whoever it might be could be willing to just cut a ridiculous check for Osborne and almost make it implausible for him not to commit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
at a certain point, if a school's offering you such and such a sum of money, you kind of got to take it,
you go
right?
take the money, right?
Yeah. You do what's best for you and your family. And, honestly, if your choices are Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Alabama,
there's not really a wrong one.
Yeah, you're not sacrificing much to go to any of those schools if you're just taking the biggest check. So far from over in the Osborne recruitment, and I'll be honest, I don't really know how I feel about Oklahoma getting the first crack at him as opposed to the last, but, it is what it is. He's going to be around plenty of the commits and several uncommitted targets that are leaning in Oklahoma's direction, which includes Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
I think on Soonerscoop.com this morning, kind of handicapped Oklahoma's odds with each of the uncommitted targets, and I had the odds that Oklahoma lands Sparrow at 75%, I want to say. So
you did.
Things look good there. Things look good. Things should stay good there. But with Osborne, man, who knows? You'd like to think, and I think many do think right now, many do believe that Oklahoma is the lead dog and is going to be able to hold the edge all the way until the end of the process. But again, when you're talking big money, and you're talking about Ohio State and Alabama being the competition, and him not having to sacrifice a whole lot in terms of development or opportunity, if he wants to take a bigger check at either of those 2 schools, there is much to be mindful of down the stretch. S. Rob Bowen says, Miguel needs to take Wolfgram to Mo Betta's and Hawaiian Bros Island Grill during his visit. Hey, it's right there on Campus Corner.
It is right there.
It is a stone's throw from the Sooner Scoop Studios, which is fantastic. I mean, literally a stone's throw. Anyone with a half-decent arm could throw a stone from the Sooner Scoop Studio and hit Hawaiian Bros.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right there if you're on Campus Corner. It's a 10-minute walk from the Switzer Center, from the team facilities. So, yeah, I mean, Wolfgram is an island guy. I would have to imagine they're going to be feeding him accordingly on the visit.
Do they do that? Do they, if you have a guy who's from a certain ethnic background, do they tailor?
They'll
do they really
cater
do
to
that?
him. Yeah,
okay.
they will. They'll
Interesting.
cater to him
Gotcha.
in that respect. But they also will have, like, the Champu barbecue, the actual Champu barbecue, i.e. the meal.
Sure.
Is something that they still do and will do on all their official visit weekends. So they're not really using the Champu barbecue moniker anymore for the visit experience itself. But the Champu barbecue meal is and will always be foundational to the OV experience at Oklahoma. And so, I mean, they'll feed them good steaks. They'll have a bunch of buffet options. They'll have campus legends in town to help put the good word in for Oklahoma. And so that Champu barbecue is never going anywhere. And it's something that, you know, you bring in the high-level caterers. In the past, our own Travis Davidson was involved in that whole operation. But, cook up some good food that nobody can say no to. 405-651-3439. That is the First Liberty Bank text line. Hit us up if you got questions, comments, opinions. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind as Oklahoma heads into the first official visit weekend of the summer? Keep it right here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
With better weather comes bigger jackpots.
And Riverwind is your one-stop winning spot.
Cash in like never before when you play in our high-stakes area.
Then head to the Showplace Theater for a one-of-a-kind VIP experience.
Play with your wild card all the way through May.
And be here every Friday for your chance at our $100,000 Flame and Fortune giveaway.
You deserve the best.
So make it Riverwind Casino.
Hi, this is Dylan Buckingham. As a parent of two boys who have faced life-threatening health challenges, our family knows when your child is sick, everything changes. Suddenly, nothing matters more than finding hope. For our family, that hope came through the care and support made possible by the Children's Health Foundation. They're advancing research, improving treatment, and standing beside families all across Oklahoma. Because every child deserves hope, healing, and a healthy future. Join us at chfkids.com.
Since 1974, Balfour of Norman has been a part of your Sooner milestones. Sooner Pride is a family affair, and we've got something for everyone. Quality apparel for men and women, gear for the kids, even toys and accessories for your dog Boomer. For our new grads, celebrate a Sooner legacy with alumni apparel, thoughtful gifts, or a gift card for the road ahead. Visit us in person on Campus Corner or shop our full collection online at crimsonproud.com. Balfour of Norman, where you'll find everything Sooner.
The Ref is once again your home for chaos. Every game-changing hit.
Long fly ball to left. Track. Wall. Gone.
Every strikeout.
Got him. Swing it.
Every defensive gem.
He caught it. He caught it.
Every game. All year.
And you can unhitch the wagon.
The Ref has you covered.
Catch Sooner Baseball in regional action versus Citadel this Friday with a 3:30 pregame and 4 o'clock first pitch right here on the Ref and worldwide on the KREF app.
No need to wait. Memorial Day savings all month long at Esker Honda. Get low monthly payments of just $3.99 per month on a new 2026 Honda CR-V Hybrid Trail Sport all-wheel drive. Don't miss these Memorial Day deals at 89th and I-35 or online at eskerchonda.com. Stock number 260437. $349 per month. 36-month, 10,000-mile per year lease. $19.99 plus TTNL and first month's payment due at signing. WAC through HFS. Offers cannot be combined. See dealer for details. Expires 7/6/26.
Looking for friendly service and delicious chicken? Head to the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A to dine in, pick up, or get delivered. We're ready to serve you. Try the new Jalapeno Ranch Club on a buttermilk ranch bun with pickled jalapenos, lettuce, tomato, pepper jack cheese, and candied bacon. Get it classic, grilled, or spicy. And don't miss the seasonal strawberry hibiscus drinks, lemonade, or iced tea. Call 405-310-3189 or order on the Chick-fil-A One app. 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A. Eat more chicken.
For over 30 years, CertaPro Painters has been part of countless memories. Every wall tells a story, and we've been proud to help write them. We are more than just your local painters, with care, craftsmanship, and certainty. From the first brushstroke to the final smile, our promise is simple. Your home, beautifully painted and worry-free. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
One smile is great, but one smile in a community of smiles is so much better. Smile Train celebrates the cleft lip and palate community by empowering medical professionals in over 70 countries to perform essential cleft care in their local communities. Learn how Smile Train is helping the cleft lip and palate community at smiletrain.org/learn. Smile Train, changing the world one smile at a time.
Here's the great thing about official visit season starting back up, Grayson Singleton. Well, one of the many great things about it is that OV photos are back. You get to see guys wearing the uniform.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It used to be that you could do that on unofficial visits as opposed to OVs, and the NCAA passed a rule saying that, no, actually, you can only dress them up in the uniforms now if they're on their official visits. So for the last couple of years, you only get to see those guys wearing the uniforms, taking photos in the uniforms when they're on their OVs. And so I mentioned in the first segment that Miles Smith, the four-star edge from Michigan, came off the board to Indiana earlier today and will no longer take his scheduled official visit to OU this weekend. But I'm scrolling through Miles Smith's OV pics at Indiana, and I have to respect it on the part of the Hoosiers.
Go ahead.
He's taken the photos with all this hardware, and all of it is just hardware from the 2025 season. Like, he's got this photo next to Fernando Mendoza's Heisman Trophy, the Big Ten Championship Trophy, the AFCA Coaches Trophy, the Rose Bowl Trophy, the Peach Bowl Trophy, and the National Championship Trophy. So all these 6 trophies, like if you didn't know any better scrolling through, I was like, oh yeah, it's a prestigious football institution right there. A lot of hardware in that building, but no, in actuality, it's all from one season, which, I mean, hey, if that's all you got, which it is all Indiana's got, hey, capitalize on it.
I mean, like Drake said, started from the bottom.
Yeah, man. Big win for the Hoosiers. Landon Miles Smith over OU, Michigan, Kentucky, Missouri, several other programs. But as the Sooners head into official visit weekend, another guy that I think is going to be a fascinating name to track as far as his experience this weekend is a guy that we haven't talked a ton about to this point, and that is Brandon Sherrard, the 4-star cornerback out of Shadow Creek High School down in the Houston area, who is our recruit of the day, brought to you by Keystone Property Management.
Yeah, let's go ahead and tell you about him. Keystone Property Management. You guys know what they're all about. 3-bedroom, 2.5-bathroom townhomes here in the OKC and Edmond area. So visit them online at KeystonePMOK.com and see what they can do for you. They've got everything you can need for your wallet and for your living space as well. Or give them a call at 405-368-1836, 405-368-1836.
So Brandon Sherrard, for those unfamiliar, is a blue-chip cornerback prospect from the Houston area. I mean, long-standing relationships and OV plans with LSU, with Texas A&M, and with Texas before Oklahoma got involved earlier this month. I mean, this relationship with Sherrard had existed for like 3 weeks at this point. And yet, the Sooners are very much in play, very much a contender for his services. He moved very quickly to book the OV, and he's going to be in town this weekend. And it's always difficult to tell, Grayson, always difficult to tell, especially with a guy that has big, big-time offers to other programs. Like, for instance, if you're OVing a guy and he's showing up to Oklahoma for the first time and his best offer outside of OU is like Kansas State. Cade McIntyre from a few years ago is a great example of this. You can pretty well figure Oklahoma's going to land the guy.
Sure.
Just for lack of elite competition. But given that the Sooners are going up against LSU, Texas, and Texas A&M here, I think you're tempted to regard Oklahoma, like your natural inclination is to regard Oklahoma as kind of an outsider to the true top tier. A program that absolutely has to hit the official visit out of the park to even have a shot. But, man, one thing that I feel like we've kind of undersold, and I know we talked about it a little bit when he was hired, but then really never again, is that Lamar Morgan is a really good recruiter, man. And so if there is a coach on staff that is capable of being able to go one and done with a guy like this, despite high-level SEC offers elsewhere, and long-standing relationships at those schools, it might just be Lamar Morgan.
Sure.
And I think it says a lot that on the same weekend, Gabe Osborne is coming to town, and everybody and their dog knows that Gabe Osborne is the top target for Oklahoma at cornerback, and that the Sooners have two other commits and excellent players at that in Mikael McCreary and Michael Davis. I think it says a lot that Lamar Morgan managed to coax two blue-chip cornerbacks into visiting on the same weekend when they have never before set foot in the Sooner State, in Brandon Sherrard and Bryce Williams.
That's an interesting set of circumstances, too, that you bring that up, because, no, they haven't, and those relationships are really fresh. I just wonder what the numbers are going to look like at the end of this. Do they take 3? Do they take 4? Is it possible that they take 5? That's kind of wild to me to imagine, but I'm interested to see what the composition of that cornerback class is going to be at year's end. And I'll ask you this, because you mentioned going up against stiff competition that has already been a mainstay in the Brandon Sherrard recruitment. What do those other programs think? Like, what does Texas think? What does LSU think when Oklahoma got involved? Did they kind of get a little bit of a hairy feeling about this? What do you think from those sides the reaction was?
Yeah, so as far as Bryce Williams is concerned, the other guy in the picture for Oklahoma at cornerback that is similarly taking his very first visit to Oklahoma this weekend, Nebraska has long been considered the front runner there, and there's just not really much concern on Nebraska's end about Oklahoma making a run. I will say it's relatively difficult to tell. It can be difficult to glean what any of those three schools, LSU, Texas, Texas A&M, really feel about a player, just because when you have that type of brand, you have so many options at your disposal. And they all really like Sherrard. They're all OVing him. That indicates they all will take his commitment. But he's also the type of player that, if he were to just have an unbelievable time at Oklahoma and decide to commit, then I'm sure LSU and Texas and the Aggies down there in College Station would be more than happy to just move on to the next guy. And there's always going to be a next guy. Like for Texas, if Brandon Sherrard committed to Oklahoma, you know what that would probably mean for Texas?
Trenton Blaylock.
They're getting Trenton Blaylock. Chain reaction. Domino effect.
Mm-hmm. Cause and effect.
Yes. Because, and I know some have long since taken it for granted that Trenton Blaylock's going to wind up in Oklahoma's class. I don't know if that's true, man. I don't know if it turns out that way. Because, for instance, we know there's always going to be a spot for Gabe Osborne. Oklahoma's always going to hold a spot for Gabe Osborne. What if the Sooners were to get it done in the span of a single weekend with either Sherrard or Bryce Williams? Where does that leave Trenton Blaylock? As he is scheduled to come to Oklahoma June 12th through the 14th. You would like to believe that Oklahoma will still pursue him with the same fervor and still invest as much into landing his commitment, especially because his older brother is currently here at OU. But is there enough room to actually do that?
Mm-hmm.
If Brandon Sherrard or Bryce Williams decides to up and commit to Oklahoma this weekend, do you have to make that uncomfortable call to the Blaylock clan and say, hey, there's just not room anymore?
Yeah. I mean, it's a possibility. What are the chances that you think Oklahoma gets at least one of those, Sherrard and Williams?
I'm not terribly optimistic.
About either of them?
About either of them,
okay.
To be quite honest. I mean, I've learned that with this staff, you can never say never because they're really, really good at relationships and they're really good at selling their product, and they generally have a high hit rate when they bring guys to campus for OVs. But I think it's a lot to ask of this staff or any staff to be able to lock down a player of Bryce Williams' caliber or of Sherrard's caliber when you have such long-standing relationships and bonds at schools the likes of the others that are in play for Williams and Sherrard. So I'm considering Oklahoma. I consider them to have a puncher's chance. I don't think it's much more than that right now. I know much has been made about Oklahoma's surge in the Bryce Williams recruitment. I still I'm really hesitant to buy that. And maybe that's just me. Maybe you have an easier time drinking the Kool-Aid than I do, but I'm not cultivating any expectation that that guy winds up in Oklahoma's class until Sunday rolls around and we start to get a real sense of how that visit actually went. Because it may go great. It may go terribly. We have no way of knowing. And we also have nothing to go off as far as Williams or Sherrard's actual reactions to being on campus, how they're going to feel like they mesh around the staff and around the roster, around the other recruits. Like it's a complete shot in the dark.
Sure. Yeah, that'll be interesting to follow.
Esra Booman says, the thing that sealed the deal for Miles Smith to Indiana was the great job Coach Cignetti did driving the pace car at the most amazing Indy 500 finish in history.
I mean, shoot, if your coach can kill it driving a pace car, that sounds like a dude I'd play for.
Man, Kurt Cignetti is going to be a legend in the state of Indiana till the day he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Jim in Arlington wants to know, Parker, is Mark Cuban bankrolling the Hoosiers? I mean, whatever happened to taking all your visits? Why is it OU has to hold on for dear life when they get first dibs at a recruit? Jim.
Huh?
What?
Huh?
Jim, we live in a world where the University of Oklahoma has 21 verbal commits right now, and only 2 of those verbal commits are going to take official visits anywhere else. Oklahoma has 19 players committed in the 2027 cycle that will never touch down on another campus for an official visit. We tend to cultivate, I say we, there are some that tend to cultivate certain perceptions of situations or trends or dynamics that are just frankly exaggerated and overplayed and overdone. And if you're solely focused, and you're not the only one that's susceptible to this, Jim, this is nothing personal, believe me, but when you're so laser focused on one program and one staff's recruiting efforts, it's all too easy to lose perspective for the rest of the country, the rest of the Power Four. It's certainly not the case that OU always has to hold on for dear life when they get first dibs at a recruit, because, again, there are 19 counterexamples to that in the 2027 cycle right now. But also, and he followed up and said, I'm just frustrated at today's news. I get that, Jim. I promise you, the folks in the Switzer Center are not that beat up about it. They understood that it was a long shot with Miles Smith. And to be honest, Miles Smith isn't even Oklahoma's top priority in the state of Michigan in the 27 cycle. That would be Gideon Gash, who is scheduled to come to campus for his June 12th through 14th official. And if for whatever reason that doesn't happen, then, okay, maybe we can have a more serious conversation about and I think it's Texas Tech that's going to get his first OV. So maybe there's a more serious conversation to be had at that point. But I get the frustration. I get the disappointment when a kid like Miles Smith, who was 24 hours away from touching down in Norman for his OV, all of a sudden is off the board to Indiana. I understand why that's not fun as a fan, but rest assured, Oklahoma wasn't banking on Miles Smith being a part of the 2027 recruiting class. And again, silver lining, it makes life a little bit easier, and it makes the picture a little less clearer. The water a little less muddy. Now you sink all your time and effort into making sure that Uhila Wolfgram has the best possible visit at Oklahoma and winds up being the third edge in the class. A 916 listener says, you would each be a 5-star
No,
recruit.
read the text before that.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, he followed up.
I thought that was just general praise for our show. I was like, oh, thank you.
Well,
That's good.
I mean, yes, I appreciate it, but read the text before that because it's a pretty interesting
Oh,
exercise.
okay. It's a prompt from this listener in California. Grayson and Parker, what would be each of your 5 official visits based on what you have learned? You would each be a 5-star recruit.
Let's take Oklahoma out of it.
Yeah, okay.
Let's do that.
We'll remove the easy one.
Okay.
We'll remove the easy answer.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Miami.
Okay.
I'm gonna go to the U.
Makes sense because you've never been there, right?
I've never been to Miami before.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to the U. Damn, if Dabo wasn't the coach, I'd go to Clemson. I don't know. He might try to cheat me out though. Give me USC.
Gross, but okay.
I have a fixation for LA. Give me A&M.
Interesting. All right.
And give me Notre Dame.
I'm glad you went there because that's easily one of my 5.
Yeah.
Easily one of my 5 is Notre Dame. I'm going with Notre Dame. I'm going Miami because I think that would just be the most extravagant official visit experience. And so even though I'm not a huge fan of Miami, that would be one of my 5. The University of Hawaii is one of my 5 as well.
Brother, you're a 5-star.
I know it.
Your recruitment with Hawaii going to get that deep?
Hey, I don't have to commit there.
Okay, fair point. Fair enough.
But yeah, man, if I can get an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii for 3 days, heck yeah, I'm doing that.
I tell you what, let me throw one in there just like that. Give me Coastal Carolina if we're going along those lines.
Coastal, huh? Like that teal turf?
Yeah.
Ugh, gnarly.
There's other things at Coastal Carolina that are pretty nice too.
I am taking my 4th official visit to the University of Alabama.
Sure.
Awesome institution. Awesome campus, awesome history, awesome facilities, awesome everything. I mean, it's the standard in college football for a reason. And then my 5th OV is going to be to Oregon because I got to see everything on that campus.
Sure.
I got to see it all because I've seen a little bit of it being up in Eugene, but I mean, with how much money is wrapped up in that whole operation and some of the facility upgrades that they're actively in the midst of executing, yeah, that's probably it for me. Alabama, Miami, Notre Dame, Oregon, and Hawaii.
I could probably get Oregon onto there. It's interesting that neither of us said Ohio State, by the way.
Yeah, I've been to Ohio. I've been to Columbus. Doesn't really move the needle for me.
Yeah, me neither. As good as that football team is, Columbus, Ohio doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, if we're talking OVs in season for a game day, maybe it's a different conversation. But if we're just doing summer OVs, no, I'm very comfortable with my 5. 405-651-3439. Where would you take your 5 OVs if you were a 5-star prospect and had your pick of the litter? Let us know. And feel free to direct any additional questions, comments, concerns, anything that's on your mind heading into the Sooners' first OV weekend at us on the text line. Keep it right here. One segment more to come here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
Buffalo Wild Wings is bringing the heat this summer with the return of the Cornhole Tournaments. Make plans to be in Mustang on Saturday, May 30th. Registration kicks off at 11 a.m. and the tournament starts at high noon. Grab your crew, enjoy drink specials all event long, and compete for some awesome prizes for first, second, and third place. Don't miss the 2026 Summer Cornhole Tournament at Buffalo Wild Wings in Mustang. Saturday, May 30th, starting at 11 a.m.
Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it expanding your balance. Spend it expanding your mind. Spend it wondering what comes next. Spend it trusting that God has a plan. Spend it taking small steps in your own life. Spend it making a big impact on someone else's. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
Hey, it's Tyler McComas for Norman Air and their $49 AC tune-ups. When your air conditioner starts struggling, a quick tune-up can make all the difference. Just listen to this testimonial.
I called Norman Air for their $49 AC tune-up, and I'm so glad I did. The technician showed up right on time, checked everything, and explained what he found.
Hey, Ref for me right now. Norman Air's AC tune-up is just $49. So call Norman Air today or schedule online at normanair.com. Norman Air, service to the max.
Being blind doesn't always look how others may think.
Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down.
I know where to find support and where I can be seen.
Innovative research, educational resources, supportive community. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is leading the charge on treatments and cures for blinding diseases. Donate today at fightingblindness.org. A public service message from the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Remember, always be generous with the nutmeg. Just eyeball it.
Okay.
Mom's wisdom has served you well, but now it may be your turn to guide her.
Hey, I'm worried about Mom. She keeps forgetting her famous sweet potato pie recipe.
Some things come with age, sis.
And some don't.
Knowing the early signs of Alzheimer's in a loved one will help you make the best decisions for your family. Visit 10signs.org to learn the signs. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
I think a lot of times when we are in the rural areas, we kind of get forgotten. Oklahoma City is the next place to actually get hearing aid services, which is 3 hours away. So just being able to come here to the county health department has been an amazing experience for us. We're not missing school. We're not missing work. We have more time with our families. Having somebody here local is super beneficial to our community.
For information about services in your area, visit oklahoma.gov/health/pediatric audiology.
Spring is here, a season of color, growth, and new beginnings. At Markham's Nursery, we have everything you need to make your spring truly special. From beautiful trees and hardy shrubs to vibrant perennials bursting with color. We have a huge selection of fruits and vegetables, roses and soils, everything you need to get your spring on the move. Helping generations grow in Oklahoma for over 50 years. Come grow something beautiful this spring. Markham's Nursery, just add the sun.
Markham's Nursery, just add the sun.
Final segment locked in here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Plenty of y'all chiming in on the First Liberty Bank text line with your 5 official visit destinations. If you were a 5-star recruit, Nate Dogg said, my 5, if you took OU out, would be Miami, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Nebraska, UCLA. I tell you what, man, bucket list material for me is being in Blacksburg on a Saturday when Virginia Tech is at least semi-good to watch Enter Sandman.
Yeah.
That is one of the most electrifying anythings in all of college football.
That's fair. I can get down with that.
Mustang Sooner says Colorado, Michigan, Hawaii, Army, Oklahoma. Army's an interesting one. I hadn't even really considered Army. It would be cool, though, taking OV to West Point.
Yeah.
A listener in the state of Florida says, give me Notre Dame, Bama, LSU, Oregon, and stick in West Coast, Washington. You want to do an OV in Seattle?
Yeah, geographically isolated, probably not. LSU's one that I would consider for sure.
You must have a really good relationship with Jedfish if you're going to Seattle for an OV. Miss me with it. I've never been to Seattle, so I can't really talk.
From the people that I know that have been to Seattle actually say really good things about Seattle.
Okay, well, maybe all that I've heard is bogus, and Seattle just gets a bad rap. Glenn from Nashville says, I think it would be cool to visit Stanford, although I wouldn't go first, given their penchant for getting recruits to change their mind on all their other visits. Yeah, make that one last, Glenn. Take the Stanford visit last. Esra Booman says, no OV to SMU for Grayson?
I tried to remove anything that I have any kind of affiliation to.
Uh-huh. SMU does have an awesome campus.
They have a great campus.
It's a phenomenal campus. But it's also 2 hours down the road, so
right.
You can go see it anytime.
Uh-huh. That'd be too easy.
A 405 listener says, when guys come in the fall for game day visits, I got to tell you, after seeing Tennessee, we are way behind. Too much kicking for chicken, smile cam, and other stuff that really takes away from the rowdy, let's kick their butt attitude.
So let me ask this. What does Knoxville do that's that much better?
Anybody that was at the OU Tennessee game this past year just got a disproportionately awesome college football experience. Like, most places in general are not going to come anywhere close to living up to that. I will say, if you were at OU for the playoff game in mid-December,
that was a lot of fun.
Boy, and Oklahoma took, I know this for a fact, Oklahoma took some cues from Tennessee when they visited on the 1st of November for that game in Neyland Stadium.
Really?
And so that played into the light presentation before the game and all of that. Somewhere K-Dub in the 918 is smiling and saying yes and amen to that text from the 405 listener that said, tell our game day people to get better. We're in the doggone SEC.
So,
but here's the thing.
Okay.
I think also part of the mystique of being in Neyland Stadium is that it's just colossal.
Mm-hmm.
It holds 103,000 people. Owen Field holds, 84K? And so you pack another 20,000 folks into the stands, it's going to be a lot louder.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a lot more electrifying. It's only natural. Tennessee does do the game day experience as well as anybody I've seen. There's no question about that. But to a certain extent, it's just not reasonable to expect that Oklahoma is ever going to be able to hit that bar because their stadium capacity is 20,000.
Sure, but you can still do some of the things that make you feel it the way that Neyland makes you feel it, even though you've got a substantially less number of attendants. I will say this. What did you think about Baton Rouge when you went? Because that would be a place, if I was a recruit, I'd take a game day visit. I would take a game day visit there.
My comment leaving Baton Rouge was, I'm really looking forward to coming back here when LSU is good. Because when Oklahoma played LSU,
sure. Yeah, that's true.
Last game of the 2024 season, there was nothing at stake. I mean, they were already pretty pissed with Brian Kelly, even though he wasn't fired for another 9 or 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lackluster experience, but you could tell just being in that building and taking it all in,
mm-hmm.
you could tell what that place could and would be like if there was a game with some actual stakes taking place in it. So I hope the next time we go back to Tiger Stadium, it's a clash of two teams that have legitimate CFP aspirations and there is something at stake in that matchup. Because I do not question for a second that Tiger Stadium in peak form is going to be one of the best environments, maybe the best, that I've ever experienced. But for what it was,
I got you.
Thanksgiving weekend in 2024. It didn't really
what do you think Oklahoma should do to up its game day? Because honestly, like, I don't know, for me personally, I don't have to be entertained when I'm at a football game. Just have some music that gets me going, which is why I push back on some of the texters' thoughts on the techno music, because that gets me ready for football. But what do you think they should do to improve the game day atmosphere outside of bringing 50 Cent out there?
There is a lot more, how do I phrase this? There's a lot more cheesy stuff at OU.
I would agree.
During the game than there is a lot of other places.
I could agree with that. It just seems a little corny.
Yes, there's a lot of cheesy stuff that you don't, like when you go to Alabama, Tennessee, wherever in the SEC, Auburn, like they're just not doing much of that.
I can get down with that.
There's quite a bit of it at Oklahoma.
I can see it.
And maybe some of it just comes down to fulfilling obligations to sponsors, but it does, as many have expressed on the text line over the years, it does kind of take some of the air out of the experience at times.
Yeah, and I mean, that's part of it is the world you live in, but also, like I can agree with people, is that if you do too much advertising, yeah.
Glenn from Nashville says, you owe it to yourself to go to a game at Neyland at night, unlike any other football experience I've ever seen in person, which makes OU's win there last year even more impressive.
I believe it.
I mean, we haven't really talked about that game in detail since the week of, obviously, because we were moving on to the next thing at that point. But being in that building when Tennessee led 7-0 on the verge of going up 14-0 after slightly before the R. Mason Thomas scoop and score, I couldn't even hear the words coming out of my own mouth down there at field level. It was louder than any building I've ever been in. I was sitting there thinking, oh, this is so over. This could get ugly. That felt like a place that offers some legit home field advantage. And yet Oklahoma overcame it. So, yes, you're absolutely right. That was as impressive a win, all things considered, as any win I have ever covered at Oklahoma. Right up there with Baylor in 2019 when they came back from 28-3 down. Dan in Madison, Mississippi says, I'll assure you they're not the first one to steal from Tennessee. I saw Keith Carter at Ole Miss do the same thing after a visit to Tennessee at night. Yeah, whatever they're doing, whatever's in the water there in Knoxville, it works. Now, from a recruiting standpoint, to kind of bring this thing back to where it all originated, from a recruiting standpoint, I think what moves the needle for recruits is different than what moves the needle for fans. What recruits want to see in general is they want to see a scheme that suits the things that they do well. They want to feel the electricity in that building. They want to feel the noise factor. And they want to see a win. Like more than anything else, those are kind of the three big things in general. And everybody has different priorities. Everybody has different things that they value. But if you had to cull it down to the three big things that recruits most often comment on in the aftermath of an on-campus experience, they're talking about, well, did they win? Did I see certain nuances and cues from what they were doing schematically that I could see myself fitting into? And then how loud did it get? How much does that fan base come to support their team? How ardently are they supporting their team when the action's going down on a Saturday in the fall? That, I think, really the only, like, I've never heard any recruit make a comment, positive or negative, on kicking for chicken, you know. Stuff that matters to fans does have some overlap with the stuff that matters to recruits, but it's certainly not a one-to-one correlation. Ryan in Jacksonville says, Metallica music intro, smoke and pyrotechnics, then holograms of young Barry Switzer, Bob Stoops, and Bud Wilkinson in their primes appear on the 50-yard line, hyping up the crowd. I don't know, Ryan. It feels like you're doing a little too much.
Yeah, and, going back to the cheesy thing right there.
Yeah, you know what?
I don't know if holograms is the way to go.
Let's pivot away from the whole hologram thing. You want to go with some hard music to open it up? You want to do the smoke and the pyrotechnics? Absolutely, I'm down for that.
I was going to say, I'm down with two of the three.
Yeah, you get the holograms thing, and okay, you turned me off. Dan in Madison, who is a photographer by trade and has covered a lot of college football games over the years, says LSU is pretty good. I've been there when they're good. It still doesn't compare to Tennessee. Yeah,
fair enough.
I mean, I thought Auburn was unbelievable, and it was. To this point, Tennessee has blown every other road environment I've ever been in out of the water. But we were also there for the dark mode night. So, again, kind of a disproportionately impressive first experience in Knoxville. And somehow, Oklahoma weaseled out of there with a victory. All right, folks. We got one final show coming up tomorrow before we hit the weekend, and Oklahoma welcomes official visitors to town. So, tomorrow's show will indeed, per usual, be jam-packed. We hope you are right back here with us to take part in it. Until then, for Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. Thanks for riding along with us today. Don't go anywhere. The Rush is next. Teddy and Tyler on deck. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. We'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy.